Hello. Hi, everybody. I hope you're doing well. I put a little video up on the way to my ALS clinic this morning, and of course it cut off. I couldn't tell, but ever since the new iPhone update, it will like fill up your storage, and then I didn't realize it, and I didn't have time to stop back and look at my video before I uploaded it. Well, I hope you're doing okay, and if you watched that video, sorry for the break off. Wasn't really exciting stuff. I was talking about gabapentin and the side effects of gabapentin. Too much excitement, right? I don't know. So did the clinic and everything came good. I'm at a real good plateau right now. Nothing has really changed, which is good. I mean, I'm still fatigued more. I have insomnia, vicious insomnia. You know, it's one of those banes of my life. You know, I used to work nights many years ago, and I broke my circadian rhythm. And in the winter and the different lights that happen, gets darker earlier, and the light dark balance messes up, and then my sleep goes bananas. You know, there's a book that's dealt with trauma that's called The Body Keeps the Score, and my circadian rhythm keeps the score. Yeah, you can't, you know, a lot of fields that whether you be an attorney, a physician, a nurse, you know, other skills, I mean, you can end up being very sleep deprived and get used to it, and you abuse your body, and your body will always remember that, and it kind of messes you up later in life. Just always have good sleep hygiene. And if you don't know what sleep hygiene is, look that up, Google it. You know, staying away from screens, staying away from blue light, trying to go to bed at the same time, you know, just take care of yourself. It's really important. So I saw all the different disciplines, you know, physical therapy, occupational therapy, had labs drawn, talked to the case managing nurse there, social work, saw the physician, respiratory therapy, which they do these respiratory tests, and I did really well. My diaphragm is strong, but they have you cough, and I swear if you cough hard, I swear it irritated me. I think I irritated myself coughing. So I kept coughing, and you know, it's like in flu and COVID season, it's like people are like, ah, it's like, no, I'm not sick. I just irritated myself by coughing. So that's what's going on. I mean, so good news about that. I mean, you know, just kind of staying at that plateau. I'm really thinking that the clinical study I was in, the Koya 302, stabilized me, and let's hope that it gets through phase 2, phase 3, and may it actually be out for the public. I know that it helped me being C9. I hope it helps sporadic patients and other of the genetic forms. So here's hoping, right? So I hope everyone's doing okay. Just kind of been thinking, you know, dealing with grief, and, you know, it's just kind of a heavy load with grief. Since I started my channel, I have lost about 5 family members, and, you know, some of them being my mother, my sister, and, you know, other close people. So that kind of changes you as a person. And grief, you know, you can grieve when you get diagnosed with ALS or another serious chronic or terminal illness. You grieve the life and the future you thought you had. That's okay. It's okay to honor that grief. You can't stay stuck in it. You have to move through it. Grief, you know, you can't let it take you down into depression. It's okay to have depression. It's okay to have grief, but to effectively manage it and effectively treat it. You don't deserve to suffer. You don't deserve to forever be in the ball of grief or the ball of depression. You have to take care of yourself. So, you know, grief is something that I've always said as a nurse, you know, it's kind of like being at the edge of a lake or an ocean, a sea. And you get sometimes, you know, quicksand or, you know, rapid water that will get you all torn up with the grief and everything happening, and then sometimes you'll be in still moments. Sometimes you'll have a rogue wave that'll take you under and the grief will get you, but once you get to the other side, things get better. So that's kind of something, just things that you have to deal with, things that you have to walk on from. Life is precious. It's just one thing I would really encourage people is to take care of themselves. It's kind of and if you're a new person being diagnosed with ALS, and if you fear you have ALS, please see a doctor. My site is kind of chronicling my emotional thoughts and ideas and experiences with ALS. It's not for medical advice. I encourage people to talk to their own doctor, their own team, and I'm just a person on the internet. You don't know if everything I'm saying is totally correct. Be careful, always think critically, and make sure that you're safe. There's no magic cure. There's no magic potion that will help you with ALS and save your life. I don't know why I'm still here 6 years later. I don't know why. I'm going to be happy about it. I'm slowly progressing. It's like I've been given such a gift this way. I have really concentrated on focusing and being present in my life. Not just when the sucker punch when you get diagnosed with ALS and how that takes you under. And if you cling to the diagnosis of ALS, if you cling to depression, you will die sooner. I had a neurologist confirm with me that people, when they get depressed and they focus on it, they do die sooner. So it behooves you to take care of yourself. Not everyone's going to do the same thing I did. I went in and I became an advocate for causes that really, struck my heart, things I felt like I needed to speak. And I shared, my truths, and I advocated very, very strongly. I marched on Washington. I did that. Now that's part of it, which I'm kind of letting go, spending more time with the family and making those people more of my focus, which is important, I did go in and I started counseling. Having your future changed with the diagnosis of, we don't know exactly. There's no expectations. You don't know how life is ever going to be. There is no such thing as true safety. We all just exist, and safety is an illusion. We hope we're there, right? When you think that, aging with your spouse, seeing your children grow up, your grandchildren graduate, I don't have that option anymore. I have what time I have, and I have to appreciate what time I have. It's sad, but I'd like to look at the fact that I'm here 6 years later and I'm able to talk. I'm able to, crookedly walk, just spastic. But, you don't know exactly how you're going to be. You grieve the loss of what you thought you had. I decided to take more pressure off my nervous system with getting therapy. And I've become a nicer person. I have less anger. And therapy has helped me. It's just, cognitive behavioral therapy. People closest to me say I'm a nicer person, and I'm a nice person to begin with. So it's really helped. It's helped me with the way that I approach things, with the way that I've reworked my brain, the way to see things, and not to ruminate as much, which is kind of thinking of things over and over again, dread over and over and over again. So, I've done that, and done, lots and serious hours of meditation daily, went to, got certified as a mindfulness coach, facilitator, yoga meditation teacher, which I call myself a meditation facilitator. Everyone can meditate. You know, my relationship with my spirituality, God, you know, whatever, Buddha, whatever people would feel most comfortable talking about it like. You know, that stuff, it means something to me. It really has built in a resilience, you know, leaning in to what I feel safe in, what belief systems I feel safe in, and walking the journey that way. Even if you can't walk, your heart can walk. You can be together, you can be side by side. Um, it's just, you know, you have to kind of decide your own way of how you're going to make it with ALS. You know, whether you used to have to work, whether you're able to retire, go on disability. Not everybody like me has the luxury of being able to, you know, have the time to make these accommodations and to get comfortable with the disease. Sometimes people just progress so quickly. And it's so sad. I mean, my own family members, I'm from a family, I have familial ALS, C9orf72. You know, I have my dad and two of my uncles, you know, had diseases related to this disorder or genetic reason. And they all lived 18 months, so I didn't expect to live. I just, you know, I had hope. I cried many tears. You know, I still can get upset at the thought of leaving. I'm not ready for it. You know, you just have to embrace the small joys in life. You have to embrace the things that you do have. You know, it's like I'm so thankful that through everything, I finally got into palliative. You know, I have my ALS, you know, groups, you know, the in-person clinic I go to, SimNicort, and I have a palliative care team, and having my pain controlled, you know, the Lyrica, and I have Tylenol before. You know, don't have to use that as much, but just with having, you know, being very spastic, being on baclofen, the highest oral dose, and being on Keppra, which Keppra is a seizure drug. It's really good for spasticity. If you have terrible spasticity, ask your doctor about Keppra. You know, one thing is that the doctor asked me if I was on Redazole. I can't be on Redazole because my liver does not like it. And Radicava, you know, I could have been on the oral doses of that, and I decided to go not to do it. You know, reading people that have actually taken the Radicava and they were walking before and they lost their legs, I just don't want to, and I don't want to hurry it up. You know, you might live longer, but you're not able to walk. And who knows how long, I mean, you know, how long I'll be able to walk. There's no guarantees. You know, I could fall, hit my head, and it could progress really quick. Or, you know, 2 weeks from now, I could lose my legs. You never know. I mean, you just have to kind of stay in the present, stay here. It's kind of serious, huh? I don't know. It's been kind of, hasn't this been a weird time? I mean, it's a new year. You know, be gentle on a new year. You know, no need to put too much resolve on it. Just kind of bring in more joys. You know, add things to your life. Those of us that have ALS lose a lot. You know, increment by increment, we lose certain things. Makes me think of the song by Gomez, "Pieces of Me." I don't know. I mean, I'm just in a contemplative, you know, period of time right now. You know, thankful that, you know, oh my gosh, Lyrica, you know, it's like the side effects. I have a side effect of Singular is a allergy medicine they give to asthmatics. Also, some people that have severe allergies. I have chronic sinusitis related to my allergies. It works great. It works before the antihistamine works. It's an interleukin thing, and it caused me severe depression. And apparently, Lyrica does too. you know, they raised the dose up to 200 milligrams, and then everything went dark. Now, I don't know because my niece, as I said earlier in the video this morning, passed away, and there was a lot of difficulty and drama and painful things that went on within that. And she was only 38. I mean, she was young. Just really sad. You know, there's times that, you know, you deal with sadness. And, you know, honestly, with seeing people suffer, seeing things that are going on in my country that I don't agree with, you know, even in the state, I'm in a state, Texas, that the way I've voted has gone to the federal government because our governor just turned it over. So, I mean, I'm not going to talk politics, but I think people matter. I think care and concern for another person matter. I think the sanctity of life matters. I think that caring for one another and neighbor matters. I don't agree with police brutality. And yes, there was a recently, you know, 3 white people that were shot, but there's very many black and brown people that have been shot by police and authorities that have not been mentioned and are not public as much. You know, it's just, we're in a big strife time, and it's a time that you can react angrily, you can fight. You know, they're trying to divide people in the United States with the different newses and the different things pushing and the political propaganda. And that's not really what matters. You know, it's the kindness, being kind to another person, being compassionate to another person, not calling another person ugly or mean or awful, but meeting them at the same point, because the very fringes of things are more like than what we are in the center. We're all human. We have to treat each other with kindness and not be ugly to each other. Of course, you know, I had put something on social media, and I invariably find distant cousins that like may have fallen down a hole of propaganda and want to fight, and it's like, nope, not going to fight with you, and have a good life, block. I just can't deal with it. I'm not going to deal with ugliness. So that's maybe something of moving into my 50s. I'm 51 now. So, you know, you have less tolerance for stupidity or less trying to fit in. Well, of course, I've never been. I mean, I've always been kind of an ornery person that marched, you know, to my beat to my own drummer. But I won't put up with ugliness. You know, there's no sense in it, you know. But I mean, you know, coming off a beautiful Christmas season, you know, spending it with my family, having my family with me, having my husband, my daughter, my mother-in-law, my sister, my brother-in-law, 9 of my nieces and nephews, and 4 of my other nieces and nephews. You know, it's just how my grandchildren, both my daughters, my son-in-law. I mean, I am such a lucky person. You know, you think about, you know, what you may have lost. What do you have? You know, I have loving family, and how beautiful that is. You know, it's like I really try to concentrate on what's beautiful. You know, I can get angry and out on a limb, and, you know, right now you could be very easily go and yell. We ordered something for dinner, and my husband, you know, they shorted us. My husband's like, I might go to jail. I'm like, no, let me go. So, you know, just showed up. And even though I may be, you know, having, and it's easy because, you know, the way I grew up, you know, I kind of used anger as an energy. You know, I used that to survive a lot. And that's not healthy. That's not a good way. That's not good energy to keep on, right? It doesn't feed you. You know, it's kind of like, you know, like depression and the rumination and concentrating on the negativity, concentrating on the horror and all the bad things, whether it be ALS, whether it be what you think may happen, who do you think may be after you, you know, just those kind of things, they don't serve you. They just close you in. They take from you. But, you know, I've been fighting, you know, that anger energy. You know, it's kind of like, oh, I could be really angry. And it's like, what does that help? Does that do anything? Does that really do anything? Yes, you should say what's wrong is wrong. You know, you call a spade a spade. You make your voice heard. But walking with compassion, walking with loving kindness in prayer, or like the monks that are walking, doing the peace walk, you know, that matters. That, you know, small steps do matter. You know, it's like a ripple in the pond. And you hope that good ripples happen instead of big, you know, muddy ones that cloud the water, right? So, but we went to the place and talked to them and said, hey, you shorted us this, you know, this and that. Ended up getting him a gift card and some free stuff, food. It's like, okay, there you go. I mean, you don't have to be ugly. You don't have to be mean. You know, you just have to state what's going on. And sometimes that kind of peace meets up and good things happen. So that's what's going on. Sorry, my video was short, you know, and Gabby Pinto, blah, blah, blah. Cut. I swear it's the iPhone update. You know, I haven't gone up to the, you know, newest 17. And it's like they really want to make you go up. So they make sure that you know, I have the largest one with the largest storage. Oh, no, you don't have enough storage. I've deleted so many apps. I've deleted so many pictures, so many videos. Oh, but you might be running out of room. It's like, oh, no, you're trying to force me to buy a new phone. I know how that is. So I'm trying to be ornery and trying to hold on against it. So we'll see how long it takes me until I finally give up and get a new phone. So, you know, that's what's going on. I'm just still me, still being me. You know, finally feeling better, you know, doing the counseling, taking care of myself, doing the self-care, reading, listening to music, spending time with family. You know, being on an antidepressant, I'm feeling a lot better. And, you know, grief does get better, it does lift. You know, it's just, you have to make sure you take care of yourself, you know, especially when you're a person that takes care of everybody else. You know, especially when you have ALS and you're falling in a hole, but a lot of us are really kind people that worry about everyone else. Sometimes you have to turn that around and take care of you. And only you know what you really need, you know, and just lean into the helpers, lean into that, you know. I'm just very thankful that I found good organizations. I Am ALS, Team Gleason, Compassionate Carry ALS, which I absolutely love Compassionate Carry ALS. If you have anybody that you want to contribute to or donate to, please do that to these organizations because they're wonderful. They really do help people with ALS. But let's see. I mean, you know, donating, everybody, you know, cost of living has gone up. We're all kind of like little frogs right now. I'm just trying to be a little peaceful frog. So all is good. Looking at new concerts. I mean, the Dropkick Murphys will be in Houston in February, so I will be going. You know, just try to see how the rest of this month goes. We're getting a cold front in, which has made me more spastic. I heard that at the end of this month, it's going to be really cold, so I'll probably be and probably not put up a video. But this year I'm going to try to keep documenting and, you know, whatever I can with, you know, my experience, if I can just share that with you guys and see if it helps. But please take care of yourself. Find the beauty in the day and know that you matter, okay? Take care. Bye.